Welcome to the Center for Economic Inclusion's first Powering Inclusion Summit. This is the first convening that focuses on centering people of color in the economic growth and competitiveness of Minneapolis-St. Paul. The summit is completely sold out. Over 300 local and national leaders are here today, so we are ready to disrupt and activate building an inclusive economy.
Our organization is your partner. We exist to be able to support employers in every single sector in making change. We believe that change starts by raising our awareness. This data is designed to be able to help make sure that each one of us understand exactly what's happening in our economy and how we can pull multiple levers to experience change. Our work is about equipping individuals, equipping organizations, and ultimately supporting those organizations who will make the changes that we need in our region. This is not a summit about disparities, but to think about the possibilities that exist in an economy where everyone is not just appreciated, but where there's true economic participation and where the assets of everyone in our entire region are fully leveraged to grow our entire economy.
The only way that we ensure vibrant cities, booming economies, and prosperity for everyone is if we put economic inclusion right at the center of the policy making.
In St. Paul, we are working to engage people in the political process. We're working to engage people in the census and the voting process because we believe that our goals on economic inclusion require people at the table.
We know that 70% of our workforce in the next 25 years is going to come from communities of color. The commitment from this administration is making sure that we're broadening the inclusion, we're broadening the opportunities for all Minnesotans, and that we're seeing results now.
This is an opportunity to hit refresh. We know that the solutions themselves for how we close these gaps come directly from communities themselves.
It's actually what makes metropolitan economies powerful that makes them critical vehicles for inclusion, because they're where the assets of the modern economy aggregate and combine to create growth and opportunity. So the region's performance and leveraging these assets for growth and inclusion forms the basis of Greater MSP's Regional Indicators Dashboard and the Center's Inclusive Indicators Project.
Often we see a mismatch where the bank's not actually able to get to the communities that it says that it wants to serve. And increasingly we can think about how the bank can do more so we start to close that gap. I think we just can't credibly go out into the communities and tell others how they should do it if we're not also trying to do these things ourselves.
As a minority person wanting to get into development, if you don't have those funds to hire consultants or attorneys, there's no way you would know how to get these applications done. There's no way you would know the rules that make the money work.
Workforce is always a key challenge for them, especially given the time right now within the labor market. And that's an area where we've heard a lot of, well, you know, I have all these open positions and I just can't find anybody to work here. I'm out in the community and having works in these community conversations, and they say, here, the community, I have all this amazing human capital and talent and people who want to work, but they can't find the jobs.
A lot of the companies that we talk to about diversity, we're met with, a lot of head nodding and okay, that's great, but there's not this sense of action to how can we change it. Positioning it as this is an opportunity, you will then become known as a brand for creating the opportunities, meeting people where they're at, and actually bringing out the best in people because they're bringing their full selves to work, and then you will be an attraction for the rest of their community to come there.
As a Black African-American business owner, I'm a leader in my community. So why would I support a business that doesn't support my community? We have to do the right thing if that's what we believe in.
So we might see a larger topic, like the issue of evictions, but don't assume anything until you have done the work of engaging with the folks that have already been on the ground doing the work. When we set up our projects, we spend months prior to identifying who all the stakeholders are, from the judges to the shelter workers, right? And we meet with every one of those folks before we assume anything.
It's important to socialize these things so that diversity and equity and inclusion is not just something that you talk to at various points in time. I think it needs to get woven into the very fabric of the organization.
The reality is bias is a part of our own decision making, and we have to have bias in order to make decisions and make judgment. It's the behavior that actually can be bad, right? And so if we can start to recognize what is the behavior that leads from our biases, then we can start to think about how do we disrupt our behavior once we know that bias.
Part of the narrative is acknowledging this history and creating spaces for us to be able to imagine and dream together of what the initiatives are and the cooperative businesses that need to happen to be able to start thinking about wealth building.
In one word, what were you inspired by? Community, passion, action, connections, and narrative. Absolutely. Possibility, collaboration, access. Access is huge. Numbers, networks, diversity, stories, multifaceted. Movement. This is a movement that is moving and requires all of the words that you see here. Optimism, I love. Love seeing this energy that you have here. Thank you so much for powering inclusion with us. We look forward to seeing you next time.